Well, who am I to deny Jesus? Okay, so first of all, thank you for all the support on the previous two Cyberpunk videos. If you enjoy this video too, remember liking, subscribing and sharing the video is the best way to let me know to make more content similar to this. It also helps out the channel, like a lot. On to the video. I'm going to divide the video in many parts. First, we are going to talk about each corporate war. Then we'll discuss what impact they had on the world. So strap in. First corporate war. Cyberpunk world was never peaceful, even before the first corporate war. But it lit up a matchstick to the pile of fireworks the world had been sitting on. The conflict was between EBM, or Euro Business Machines, which is based on IBM in our world, and Orbital Air, which is like SpaceX but on steroids, and it took place from 2004 to 2006. EBM was a leading manufacturer of computers and high-tech equipment all around the world, and represented the European superpower. It was formed in 1990s and it gobbled up most of the other prominent computer companies around the world in a so-called the greatest free market hostile takeover in history. Their long-term objective being to consolidate as much of the world's high-tech manufacturing as possible under their label, by any means. On the other hand, Orbital Air specializes in cargo and passenger transport to Earth orbit. They are the corporation behind the space station in the Night City and the space hotel Crystal Palace that you see in the game. They have an absolute monopoly on commercial spacebound cargo and transportation because of their vast infrastructure and services for cargo transportation all around the world. Remember the promise of SpaceX of transporting goods and people in rockets around the world instead of and faster than the cargo ships and cargo planes? But unlike SpaceX, they actually delivered. Now you may be asking, second act, these corporations have nothing in similar, so why would they start a war? And I would say, you innocent child, greed. It's always the greed. Another corp called TWA or Trans World Airlines, which was almost at bankruptcy, but still had enough resources to give these corporations $ eyes. And EBM offered a buyout to the CEO of TWA. But its CEO let the deal fall through because of Orbital Air, which was interested to claim the TWA's air traffic facilities, blocked EBM's buyout attempt. When EBM found out about that, they basically employed the tactics of a salty person in a love triangle in a soap opera. Of, if I can't have you, I'll not let anyone have you either. And to do that, EBM hired terrorists to kidnap Orbital Air's business negotiation team en route to meet TWA. They meant it when they said, by any means. But the terrorists failed their mission and everybody found out that it was EBM who sent them. Orbital Air, furious about EBM's attempt to block their deal, recruited Zetatech Corporation to begin a large-scale net attack against EBM. But they forgot one thing. EBM was a leading computer and high-tech equipment manufacturer company. It was like a hacker trying to hack Microsoft after buying the license of Microsoft Windows. Everyone knows you gotta use Linux, and EBM easily repelled all the attacks from Zetatech and forced them out of the war. It's always fun when the corporations try to do what they have never done before and make mistakes, like starting a war between each other but underestimating the opponent's prowess and giving them ideas instead on what they can do to hurt them and also improve on their methods. And so EBM, after defeating Zetatech, did exactly that. They launched their own attacks, physical and technological, against Orbital Air facilities, and even TWA. Orbital Air had to improvise and retaliate, and so began the all-out war where both sides used whatever they could against each other. Terrorism? Check. Net attacks? Yeah, gotta. Piracy? Oh yes. Corporate solos and proxy soldiers from the third world? I mean, these legends gotta feed their families somehow. The world always remembers the pioneers, the first people to embark on an exploration and go where no man or woman has gone before. They are the ones that stumble and face difficulties that nobody had to deal with before and pave the way for the next generation to go further than they went, learning from their mistakes and their discoveries and pave the way for the generation after them. Now, if you take it in the opposite sense, that's what happened here. During the 2 years of the first corporate war, both companies were dealing with uncharted territories, and the world was watching and learning from their mistakes as both companies lost hundreds of millions of euro dollars because of their greed. But greed never dies, and the casualties keeps on surmounting. There were two major battles during this war. The first one occurred when Orbital Air Commandos successfully raided and captured an EBM space station, because EBM hijacked an orbital air station in the past during the war. This was such a brutal battle that the European government had to step in, and so the European Space Agency denounced both parties and demanded that these corporations do not fight each other in low Earth orbit at the very least. Space should be a neutral zone for the conflicts happening between corporations fighting on the ground. The second battle, which occurred a year later and ended the war, had Orbital Air Commandos successfully attack, breach, and capture the compound of EBM CEO Ulf Grunwalder, forcing him to surrender to Orbital Air, making Orbital Air the winner of this first corporate war. But like in any war, humanity always loses. The world didn't get enough time to recover from all the damages and casualties, as just 2 years later, the second corporate war started. The first corporate war left a big gaping hole in the world, and it was time for the oil companies to slide into the DMs and say hi. But that's a story for next video in the series. Frick. Thanks for watching. Sorry for delivering this video a bit late. During making this video, one of my video got copyright claimed. I disputed and got a copyright strike because the anime company sent a video takedown request to YouTube. My channel was not even monetized yet, but now even if it reaches all the requirements to be monetized, I can't monetize anything for 3 months while the strike is active. It's funny how while making video about how corporations have too much power, a corporation decided to cancel any opportunity of me being able to make any money in the near future. But as always, if you enjoyed the content, share the content with the fans of the series who might enjoy the content too. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Second act out.